Hello, Andy.
Hello, Melanie. How are you today?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
You're still glowing.
Oh, always am. The
You
joy of
always
serving
are.
in Lampeter.
I'm pleased to hear it. Pleased to hear it. Interesting reading this week.
Yeah, and I dare say nobody's actually going to be preaching on it because
Huh?
I'm not. I don't know about you, because of course, it's Remembrance Sunday.
Yeah, yeah. Which is a bit of a shame because this is almost the climax of the disputes with Jesus. You know, basically, you can't overcome Jesus by argument. They've tried and tried and tried all the various different groupings, and this then is the climax. So in a sense, it's almost a shame because it's again a great one to talk about.
And it's got a great message about the resurrection too, hasn't it?
Exactly.
There's there's
Exactly.
there's real hope in this passage.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. So we end up coming out of it just assured that the resurrection is a reality. You know,
Mm,
the promises of Jesus are true. The future resurrection is going to happen. It's going to be a certainty that ought to be controlling our lives. So we can be so assured by this passage of
mm.
our future. It is wonderful.
And in a sense, the message is a good one for remembrance, but it's also one where you could get caught up in other kind of debates and discussions. It's an easy one to get sidetracked on. And of course,
Yes.
that's why the Sadducees used it, wasn't it?
Now I heard you've got a little joke about this, haven't you? Go on.
Oh, the Sadducees, they didn't believe in the resurrection. That's why they were sad, you see.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
I know, bum bum. They all just wanted the
Yes.
best.
That's right. A true story. In one of my churches, we had somebody who, because of the teaching here on marriage, wanted to drop being a Christian because they were so enamored with their husband that the thought of not spending heaven with their husband just totally put them off. They're
Mm.
really sad.
I've had a similar situation where I preached on it, and I had somebody who'd fairly recently lost their husband
Hmm.
come up to talk to me about it and about how devastating they found it. So it is pastorally, it's one you've got to handle quite carefully, isn't
Yeah,
it? But it does teach us an important truth about what eternity is going to be like
yeah, yeah.
and what
It,
it's not going to be like.
it's going to be so much more than this earthly life. So this earthly life and our eternal life are not going to be the same. They are going to be different.
Better in the future with Jesus. It's going to be it's the fulfillment of all of our human longings and our human experience
Yeah,
in perfection. In but so that's the thing to bear in mind. But should we start with a little bit of what's been going on? Because we've skipped a fair bit of Luke's gospel, haven't we, since our last passage?
we have, haven't we? We are in chapter 20.
So we've skipped the conversations that's been going on because the one directly before this is them trying to catch Jesus out with should we pay taxes to Caesar?
Yeah, yeah.
And we can assume that's probably the Pharisees doing that.
One
It
would
just sort
say.
of says they. I think it's the Pharisees. That's the they. And now we get the other big group in
Yeah,
Jewish religious society, the Sadducees.
yeah.
And they don't believe in anything supernatural, do they? They don't believe in resurrection. They don't believe in angels. They don't
Hmm.
believe in anything spiritual. They're sort of your realist sort of, I don't know, quite in some ways quite modern.
Yeah, quite secular and
Mm,
earthy. Yeah,
yeah, we don't believe in this sort of stuff. And so they do what opponents do all the time. They pick the most way out example possible, don't they?
uh-huh.
Oh, JC Ryle calls them supposed cases, but it's exactly what happens when you talk about the
Isn't
hot topics of today, euthanasia or abortion or same-sex marriage. They
somebody else, I can't remember who it was, used exactly the same phrase about the Sadducees here and their use of this story. They take the supposed case. It's the most extreme, radical example, most ridiculous example that you could probably find.
Like I say, people use that argument today. You're talking about euthanasia, and it's like, well, what about the person who's who's got this terrible disease that, you know,
Yeah,
0.001% of the population gets, and they're living in this awful, and they build it up to this terrible, what about them?
yeah,
And it distracts the whole argument, doesn't it? Because you're taking an extreme case and making that normative.
yeah, that's
It's
right.
like when you talk about abortion. Well, what about the 9-year-old who's been raped by so and so? It's a horrible, horrible, horrible thing, which might well happen, but in a teeny tiny number of cases,
Yeah,
and then you're struggling then to argue. How do you argue it? Do you argue about that case and talk about that? Or do you say, we just got the bigger picture here about this? Because Jesus is far cleverer than us, isn't he?
yeah,
He's basically saying, you're asking the wrong question, mate.
yeah,
It's not about that. Because heaven isn't going to be how you're imagining it.
yeah. They're making that false assumption that is at this age is like the next age. So
Yeah,
totally.
it'll just be like now, but a bit better.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's and Jesus says that's not true. So just to give a bit of meat on that, though, so the case they've used is based on levirate marriage, isn't it? Which is
Mhm,
from Deuteronomy 25:5. So it is
mhm.
there. This provision is there in the law,
Yeah,
but you can't imagine it actually happening to that extreme. She's managed to outlive 7 husbands.
but I think it's Howard Marshall in his commentary. He also points out that actually the actual number seven. Now there were seven brothers. That actual example comes from Tobias, one of the books of the Apocrypha. It's in there, so it's part of Jewish at that time Jewish folklore belief. Um, that's where they're gone. But yeah, I mean, it's Dale Ralph Davis. He makes the point, isn't it? Verse 32, finally the woman died too. Really sad, but a flipping miracle. She made it that long.
She might have been a black widow, might she? She might have been slipping something into their hummus.
I wouldn't know about that, Melanie. Is
But
that what
anyway,
you do?
well, I'm the only one who eats hummus, so it would be a bit self-defeating.
Okay, okay.
But anyway, yeah, so you've got this supposed example, whether it's a true story, whether they've taken it from Tobit, whether it's whatever. Um, Jesus says, actually, you know, you've got your presuppositions are wrong
Yeah,
because, as you've said, the next world isn't like this one. It's different.
yeah, yeah,
And the main reason it's different is wonderful. Verse 36, they cannot die anymore. The
yeah.
curse has been lifted,
But
removed.
don't miss verse 35 out. But those who are considered worthy of taking part in the age of to come, not everyone.
Mm, that's very serious, isn't it? So we
Yeah.
haven't got Jesus is not a universalist.
No,
Everybody is not going to be taking part of this. For the curse is not going to be removed for everybody.
no, no, not at all. And of course, last week we were talking about how the curse could be lifted, but not everyone is
Mm.
going to get the benefit of that.
No, well, last week and the week before, because the week before we looked at the Pharisee and the tax collector, and one was sent home justified, and it wasn't the Pharisee, it was the tax collector because he repented, have mercy on me, let there be atonement for me, and then you've got Zacchaeus, the tax collector who responded to Jesus's call and welcomed him and became a son of Abraham and
Yeah.
had been lost but was now saved.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you do it. You have to come to Jesus.
Yeah.
You have to repent, welcome Jesus.
But then
But then,
those who have come to Jesus, what you said, verse 36, they can no longer die. They are God's children, children of the resurrection. Wonderful.
and that is just the greatest news, you know.
Yeah.
We'll have
Yeah.
to die in an earthly way unless the Lord comes before that point, but then we will live. And that's wonderful. And that's why there's no marriage in heaven, because for all the arguments about marriage today, there is a very important reason for marriage, and that's to procreate, to
Yeah.
replace the people who have died because of the curse that's been put on us at the fall.
Yeah. And of course, then in heaven, there's no need for that. No need for
No,
procreation. Therefore, there's no need to no. Yeah, there's no, yes, okay. There's no need for marriage. Sorry, no need for
no need for
procreation. No
marriage.
need for marriage.
Otherwise, it'd be like there's a Star Trek episode where nobody dies, but people in the original series, when people keep having children, and they end up on this planet where literally nobody can move. They're just like, you know, when you've been in a really busy room, like sometimes when you're at the cathedral and you're all shoved in a room to get dressed up. Well, maybe you get to go to a special place now you're an archdeacon, but the rest of us are all rammed into some tiny room, and you can't move. There's somebody there, there's somebody here, there's somebody here, there's somebody here, there's somebody
Uh-huh.
here, you know. And the Star Trek episode is about that, and it's exploring the issue of what would happen if we suddenly became immortal but kept having children.
Yeah.
It's an
It's,
interesting point to think about because that's what the
it's
aged
a bit
one
like
is.
that when you go to see Man United. You're
Yeah.
there, it's full, and then even more people come in and it gets more crowded.
So that's why marriage. That's why you don't need marriage in the same sense. And
Yeah.
Jesus is only talking about this particular point, isn't he? He's not therefore also saying you won't know your husband or wife, is he? And going back to those people who really struggled with it,
Yeah.
actually he's not addressing that matter here. That's not his purpose, is it? But
Yeah.
we know from elsewhere we recognise people, don't we?
We do. We will. You'll
So
be able to see my shiny, happy face.
it's a
You'll
whole
be
other
glowing
question,
like
that
an
isn't it?
angel. You'll be glowing. You'll be an angel, Melanie.
Won't be an angel. We like the angels. Different type of thing, isn't it? We mustn't make the mistake and interpret this as we will become angels. You know, oh, so and so's got their angel wings. No, we don't. Angels are different, aren't they? They're different to us, but we'll be like them in the sense that we won't age. We'll be
Exactly.
there for forever with God. You know, so in that sense, we'll be like the angels, won't we? But but we're not told other stuff. But we can be assured from elsewhere that we will know people. There'll still be relationships in heaven. They're just on a different basis.
Yeah.
And that if heaven is just so much better than here, then we're not going to be feeling grief at not knowing our husband or wife in the same way because we'll have that total fulfillment in that place.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, surely.
Yeah. Be wonderful. And then Jesus carries on by, going back to referring to them on their own terms in a way with 30 set the example of 37. Um, and you almost uses their own arguments against them because of course the Sadducees it was the five books of Moses that they read and followed. And so Jesus takes the example of the burning bush and uses that to show them the truth of the resurrection, to show them the truth of life after death.
Because they only believed in the Pentateuch, didn't they? They didn't.
Yeah,
They thought the rest of it was a bunch of rubbish. So he uses an example even from there.
yeah,
But it's a. I mean, Jesus picked it, so it's bound to be a good example, isn't it? You know, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. I am
yeah,
in the present tense.
exactly. Tenses are always very important when you study the Bible.
Yeah, so Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are still existing,
Yeah,
even though they're not in their earthly
yeah.
thing anymore.
Which also tells us another important point about heaven or about eternal life. Our relationship with God continues after death. I know in some ways that might sound as if you're stating the obvious, but it is an important point that we remain in relationship with God. We remain one of his children. We remain resurrected, or we are resurrected.
Yeah, it's a wonderful promise, you know. We'll be alive in God's presence, and then we'll be destined for the resurrection when Jesus returns, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just wonderful. And you know, J.C. Ryle, I could read you the whole chapter. He's got so much to say on it. But the bit I liked most, I think, is he talks about the triumph of truth, even when the truth appears to be weak. And I think this encourages us because sometimes as people who are trying to believe and follow the truth that Jesus gives to us, we
Mhm.
can sometimes feel that we are ridiculed. People try and come up with clever arguments
Yeah,
against what we're saying. Like happened to Jesus, but we're not Jesus answering. And it can, I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel very inadequate to answer questions.
yeah.
And JC Ryle, he tackles just this issue. He says, reason of this kind will often meet us if we are thrown into company with persons of a skeptical turn of mind, some imaginary difficulty or complication and that connected probably with some fancied state of things in the world to come will often prove the stronghold for an unbeliever. Reason of this kind should never shake us for a moment. For one thing, we have nothing to do with supposed or imaginary cases. It will be time enough to discuss them when they really arise. Enough for us to talk and argue about facts as they are. For another thing, it's a mere waste of time to speculate about difficulties connected with the state of existence in a world to come. We know so little of anything beyond the visible world around us that we are very poor judges of what's possible or not possible in the unseen world. A thousand things beyond the grave must necessarily be unintelligible to us at present. In the meantime, it's our wisdom to wait patiently. What we know not now, we shall know hereafter. So
Mm.
we've not got to worry when these arguments come and these discussions come. We can't know all of the detail. We have to trust God, and we will know because by His grace, we'll see it for ourselves.
Yeah. And that wonderfully picks up the psalm because the appointed psalm to go with this gospel is Psalm 17 and verses 6 to 8. And verse 8 is that wonderful a wonderful line that picks up Exodus 15. But these are verses 6 to 8 of the prayer of the psalm. I call on you, my God, for you will answer me. Turn your ear to me and hear my prayer. Show me the wonders of your great love, you who save by your right hand, those who take refuge in you from their foes. Keep me as the apple of your eye. Hide me in the shadow of your wings. And so the
Mm.
resurrection that Jesus confirms in our gospel reading just confirms the psalmist's righteousness and faithfulness and certainty. And he can do that for us as well. We know God is going to keep us as the apple of his eye, and he'll hide us in the shadow of his wings.
And it's all a matter of trusting him, isn't it? Trusting Jesus's word, trusting the promise, and trusting in him that he's going to do the right thing. Because this question about our loved ones, that we raised earlier, actually it's a matter of do we trust God that
Yeah.
his promise is good, you know?
And what he has for us, the blessings he has for us, are so much better, infinitely better than anything we could have for ourselves.
Mm. Even that wonderful relationship, what
Yeah.
God's got in store in the future is better even than that.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter for us to trust God on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey ho! I'm afraid I don't think I'll be preaching on this because I'm guest preaching in a couple of places, so I have to do Remembrance Day. But
And me,
Great
and me.
passage.
I've got much Remembrance Sunday stuff to do.
Yeah, indeed. Well,
But
enjoy yourself at the cenotaph.
oh, well, I'm sure. Oh, it's
Don't
always a
get
privilege,
wet.
isn't it? A privilege to do it. I do it in honor of my dad
Great.
and the men that Dad fought with who didn't come home.
Yeah, great. Enjoy.
And you.
Ta-da.
Hooray.